just asked the kid, just pick a bike, and he just looked at me like, what? My mum can't afford it. And I go, just pick a bike. And then when I gave him the bike, his mum bore out in tears. He was just like real thankful and just, he's like, am I actually taking this bike? And I go, yeah, you're taking it. So I'm Scott Tulua, New Zealand born Samoan, married for 22 years now. And yeah, so we got 7 kids. When I was younger, I actually grew up in central Auckland, in Greyland, and grew up around the more fortunate kids, and they all had bikes. And I was one of the only kids that didn't have a bike. Basically decided to ask these kids for their old bikes they didn't use or anything, and then just built my own bike from there. And then just, I was the only kid that rode around with one big wheel at the back and a small wheel in the front. And yeah, just basically started from there. But for the community, it was, I saw the need. I actually took a bike into a bike shop to get fixed and saw the prices, and I went, it's crazy. So I thought, if this is the reason why our community is not taking their bikes, and then I think it's time for me to do something about it. So yeah, so we get bikes donated to us from all over Auckland, and then we repair them, and then we donate them out to the kids. At the moment, we're donating them out to a school, 5 bikes a week, and it's designed for them. They have special awards for their kids that do well during that week, and so on top of that, they get a bike. And it's just for us, it's getting more bikes out there and more kids active out in the community. Serving Southside is basically here to serve our community. For me, it all started when my eldest daughter was born. Was the turning point for me. I made the decision that I want to make the area that I live in a better area for my daughter to grow up in. Just to set that example, and just so that she can get a better life than I did, and get more options and more choices than I ever did. And 7 kids later, I'm still doing the same thing. Yeah. At the schools, we're just teaching the kids the basics of the bike, how to maintain the bike that they have, changing a tire puncture, changing a brake cable. At the end of the programs, give them a bike each so that they have a bike, and it's for them to practice what they've been taught. So if it breaks down, then they've already been taught what to do with their bike to get it back on the road. I've always said to my wife, my payment is always seeing the kids' faces, the reactions that they get when they get a bike, or when I fix the bike that they've had sitting in the garage for months and months. That's basically my drive and what keeps me going. There was a kid that our mum had come through, and the kid wanted a bike, but she didn't want to get him a bike because they were stuck for funds and everything at the time. I just asked the kid, just pick a bike, and he just looked at me like, what? My mum can't afford it. And I go, just pick a bike. And then when I gave him the bike, his mum bore out in tears, and then he was just like real thankful, and just, he's like, am I actually taking this bike? And I go, yeah, you're taking it. And yeah, that for me was just seeing that kid not believe the fact that he's been given a bike was the best part. But in the long run, for me, it's just giving them that feeling of that they can do the same for someone else. When a parent comes to buy a bike, we ask them to get one for themselves too. So then, I've always encouraged kids to love it when their parents ride with them, and it's good for the parents to ride in front to check for danger, and then the kids can follow behind. It's probably the safest way to ride. For your kids to ride is to ride with them. If the kids see the parents riding safely, then the kids know, okay, that's how we should be riding. And make sure that they're riding in a safe environment. Certain areas where they have bike lanes, but even bike lanes are unsafe at times. But I'd rather have them riding in an open space like a park, or somewhere where they can be seen and supervised at all times. Part of my workshop, I actually teach the kids how to put the helmets on safely, and some of the kids are like, oh, I don't want to ride a helmet with a helmet. And I go, why? It doesn't look cool. And they go, nah, it doesn't look cool. And I'm like, yeah, but what does your face look like if you fall off a bike after a helmet? You still look cool? And then they look at me like, oh no, I think I better put it on then. It's a lot safer, and just encourage people to ride their bikes. It's not only good for our health, but it's also good for the ozone layer too. Riding's cheap, it's free, you don't have to pay for petrol, and it's a lot of fun.